Could it be that academics with the privilege to be contemplative tend to question the existence of God? From a 2007 edition of Harvard University Magazine.
Just as surprising to the researchers was the range of belief across institutions and fields of research. Although nearly 37% of professors at elite research schools like Harvard are atheist or agnostic, about 20% of their colleagues have no doubt that God exists. At community colleges, in contrast, 15% of professors are atheist or agnostic, and 40% believe in God. These differences exist because of professors' backgrounds and inclinations, claims the author. Professors who come from higher socioeconomic classes and are drawn to research over teaching or service, characteristics more common among academics at elite institutions, tend to be less religious.
How do I continue to search for this elusive deity? Is it possible that a superficial review of how the world's major religions define God will help? My challenge is to identify a denominator by which I could provide an equitable comparison of various philosophies. Limiting to earthly perspectives held by numerous belief systems is inadequate. We've moved beyond Aristotle's geocentric model where Earth is at the center. The universe is much larger than our third rock from a mediocre star in a nominal star system in one of what could be a couple trillion galaxies, and that's just in the observable universe. Maybe investigating how science and religion define the origin of the universe will provide the insight I desire.
Louise is the center of her universe, though is quickly insignificant from the distance of only 300 yards. Her city disappears in less than 10 miles altitude as the confluence of North America is seen in full view at 600 miles. Louise is nowhere to be found. Our world, the Earth, is but a dot at 60 million miles, and we've only just begun demonstrating the scale of the observable universe. Our solar system disappears at 60 billion miles, a distance unfathomable by our earthly sense of dimension. At 100,000 light years, our Milky Way is but an artistic, illuminated swirl. The Milky Way becomes indistinguishable at 6 million light years as we extend toward the entirety of the observable universe at 6 billion light years. Our journey does not end there. We return to Louise only to find, though the center of her personal universe, she is composed of the same elements as planets and stars. Only the configuration, the architecture, is different. Her cellular structure appears at 100 micrometers. Chromosomes at 1 micrometer. Oxygen atoms at 100 picometers, electrons at 10 picometers. Nuclei at 100 femtometers. And finally, we think, quarks at 1 femtometer. 1 femtometer? What is that? If we can imagine, and we don't have the intellectual capacity to imagine this scale, 1 femtometer is many times less than 1 trillionth of an inch. The same elements comprising stars, with the largest known star 1,700 times larger than the Sun, also comprise our quarks.
Visualizing the scale at either end of the spectrum, from quarks to the observable universe, is beyond our collective comprehension. We are all products of our nature and nurture, and our understanding of all things is limited by our biases and our intellect. Even the most intellectually capable of humankind cannot be all-knowing. If even one individual in history were all-knowing, there would be no subsequent discovery, because by default there would be nothing left to discover. So we continue to rely on those with high intellect and privilege to incrementally move us forward in our knowledge, innovation, and artistry. I'm challenged to identify that religious philosophy offers opportunity to advance incrementally. Religious doctrine was set and fixed at distinct points in time and is modified from its historical and literal interpretation only to satisfy respective constituencies. In contrast, science is governed by the laws of physics and repeatable methods, and is obliged to be continuously tested, modified, and enhanced in a repetitive circular model. The Jesuit approach of discernment provides opportunity to reflect on our individual emotions and inclinations, or motions of the soul, though lack investigation external to the person. That returns us to the challenge of defining God. Is God a bearded white man with flowing white hair who watches over his disciples from the heavens above? This is certainly a frequent conceptualization within the Christian tradition, and with rare exception, he is referred to as He. Or is God an amorphous energy, creating and inhabiting all things both animate and inanimate? If that's the case, it would seem the distinction between God and physical law is the former's intelligence and the latter's randomness. Let's make a good faith leap by accepting all things from quarks to stars are comprised of the same palette of elements organized by variant configurations of building blocks. The question becomes whether all elements were created and organized by intelligent forethought or by random selection and survival of the fittest.